Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another video. We are continuing with my power ranking series. And yeah, instead of dilly-dallying around, we're just going to move on straight into the next team. So at number 9, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are a funny one. Every year, I somehow count these guys out, and they surprise me. You know, I'm ranking them at number 9 now, and they always just turn around. And last year, they started out 2-4, and they ended up being one of the best teams in the whole league. And they played in a very good game against the Buffalo Bills, where they won. It was a very controversial end that actually led to the league changing its rules on how overtime works. Not really sure if I liked the change, if it was the exact change I wanted to see, but nonetheless, it was a good enough game to change it. So, I mean, they're the same team. I don't know if they're the same team. They got a lot worse this offseason. They got a lot younger and cheaper, and they have a lot more upside going into the future because Patrick Mahomes has a lot of years left in his career, and they don't want to look like the Seahawks after 2015. They don't want to just continuously get worse while they watch their Super Bowl team slowly leave piece by piece. No, they got younger, they got cheaper. They did pick up a couple pieces, but they lost a lot of their core defense, and their core defense was their core players on their defense were a bunch of veterans, older players that, you know, if they would have signed them into the future, those contracts probably would have just turned away them down. So it was a wise decision. It was wise to do somewhat of a pseudo rebuild, and it was a smart choice. Tyreek Hill is getting up there in age. So is Melvin Ingram, so is Tyrann Mathieu. So letting those guys go, it's not the biggest thing in the world. They might not be a Super Bowl contender this year, but again, they also might shock the crap out of everybody. Patrick Mahomes is still there. Travis Kelce is still there. Travis Kelce is 33, but he's still there. He's probably going to retire a Chief. You know, they still have Eric Bieniemy, and that is a surprising one. I did not think he would still be an offensive coordinator coming into this season, but it just seems like every team is dropping the ball on him, and once somebody gives him a chance, they're going to be happy because Eric Bieniemy, I mean, the dude has created one of the best offensive schemes. I get he has the support of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and once Tyreek Hill, but you know, back-to-back Super Bowls, you can't do that without Super Bowl appearances. You can't do that with a crappy offensive coordinator. The dude he's got a reputation now, and he deserves a head coaching job. So they're very fortunate to still have him. They did replace Tyrann Mathieu with Justin Reed. He's a player that I personally love. He's just a monster at the safety position. You know, he's got the prototypical body, and he's going to be a player to stick with them going into the future. He's going to be a, you know, pivotal piece to this defense, to this rebuild. I don't want to call it a full-on rebuild because they still have a lot of their players, a lot of their core, but they did give up a lot of the older guys who are going to be asking for some money this year. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about the Chiefs. They got worse, but they tend to surprise. They very much tend to surprise. So I have them sitting at number 9 right now. And moving down the list, I have the Packers. The Packers are worse than they were last year, straight up. They are worse than they were last year. They lost Davante Adams. They were able to retain that defense. It was a very big contract year. They had a lot of players coming on contracts. They were able to retain the bulk of that defense, but they did let Corey Linsley walk, which is a big offensive lineman, and that's a pretty big deal when you're also considering the fact that you're losing Davante Adams. Davante Adams was their pretty much their entire wide receiver room. Like, they have other talent in there. They do have talented guys in there, but those guys have not proven themselves. They have not picked up the part of the target share that people thought they would. Alan Lazard, I think he's going to step up in a big way this year for this team, but their wide receiver room is looking a little shaky. They did pick up a few rookie wide receivers in the draft, so applaud to them on that one. I didn't think I'd ever see them draft a wide receiver in my lifetime. They finally did. That makes this draft class probably the best one for the Packers in quite some time. They were able to bring Aaron Rodgers back. They were able to retain him, sign him to a 4-year contract. There's not much to be said about Rodgers. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He makes it look easy out there. Crap. I don't know if you've ever tried to throw a football, especially in NFL-sized football, but it's not easy, and he makes it look like brushing your teeth. I really can't see the offense struggling too much without Adams. It just means that he's going to have to share the rock around a little bit more, and I really do hope these wide receivers are able to get him some space and catch the dots that he's going to be throwing good footballs. It's just whether or not his receivers are going to be open enough, and they're going to be open. He's going to be throwing to the open guy or the guy that's the most open, but I don't know. I'm hopeful for this team. I'm hopeful for their young wide receivers and all the talent they have in that wide receiver room. Hopefully we see somebody step up. Hopefully we see everybody step up. But it's going to be a different year for Rodgers. He's going to be sharing the rock a lot more versus, in the past where he's just dumping the ball off to Adams every play. It is a big year for them. They had a disappointing exit in the playoffs last year. Now that they're on paper a worse team than they were last year, I don't really know if they're going to do any better. I keep saying that I'm hoping somebody rises out of the NFC to really prove themselves as a top dog in the league this year. But I don't know. Their defense is still going to be, top tier. Their offense is still going to be led by Aaron Rodgers. Let's just hope these guys can put it together and have a deep playoff run, So yeah, that caps off number 10. The Packers. So at number 11, I have the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are a team I feel very bad for. They, especially with everything that happened in last season, they were decimated by injuries, and losing Lamar Jackson later in the season was not a good thing for them because the dude is young, but he doesn't rely on those legs, but those legs are the core of their running offense. So he's a guy, if you're a Ravens fan, you want to see him as healthy as he can be. And, when your quarterback is the core of your running game, you're going to see injuries. And the fact that it's already started is not a good sign for them. The rest of their roster was decimated by injuries last year. They've had a great defense for some time now, but they just traded away Marquise Brown, and they didn't really replace him. That's not a good sign for their passing game. I do gotta say, people don't realize Lamar Jackson is a very good passer. He's very good at throwing the ball, but that's not his bread and butter. His bread and butter is running the ball. They have a very talented running back room. Last year they had to go deep. They were picking up running backs at a ShopRite. They were going to the supermarket to bring. I think they had 5 running backs, maybe more, on injured reserve last season, which is insane. They did improve their offensive line, which was already top tier, one of the best offensive lines in the league. And that's really all there is to be said about the Ravens. Is just, can Lamar Jackson stay healthy? Can the rest of the team stay healthy? if they can. Who's going to step up as the top wide receiver? Who's going to step up in that wide receiver room? Hopefully some guys do. Hopefully Lamar Jackson doesn't have a hard time sharing the ball around. And, yeah. That caps off the Ravens at number 11. That is also going to cap off this video. For now, I'm going to be continuing the power ranking in another video. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.